Let's not forget Fast and Furious.
No, let's forget that. Continue.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I am your host, Chris, and we're here to talk about entertainment, culture, and whatever the hell we feel like. I'm here with my good friends, as always. It's going to be Brooksy. How you doing, Brooksy?
Doing great. Really enjoying all of the comments about Nicki Minaj's tweet of the coronavirus situation. But yeah, over here living life.
Poor Trinidad gets on the map by giant balls or something to the effect. Speaking of, how you doing, Keith?
Speaking of giant balls, yeah. What's up, guys?
And of course, I can't do it without James. How you doing, James?
I'm just mad that the Giants are still in a rebuilding year after year after year after year.
Look, I have to say,
turn into the Knicks of the NFL.
Congratulations to Brooksy's.
The Knicks are a playoff team, so
Brooksy's Raiders, who tried really hard to fail, threw an interception on the goal line in overtime, and I was like, oh my god, they're literally gonna lose this thing.
Nope.
And yet they did it.
You know what made that worse is everybody on Twitter talking about what a great game and like applauding. I'm like, there was a stupid game. Like, look how the game ended. That's a terrible game.
Hey, they got the defense.
The game ended horribly. It ended pretty whack. But it was.
Come on, Giants.
It was a
game. Get it together.
Game.
Yeah, I can't talk about it. I'm a Bears fan, so we went in and stunk up the place. So
the game ended the way it should have with the Raiders W. That's number one. Number two, the reason why the Giants suck is because James is a fan. We all know that. And number three, I'm actually going to give it to Keith. The Knicks are a playoff team. There it is.
Wait, are they a playoff team because nobody's playing?
If the NFL allowed 4 wild card spots, the Giants would have been in a couple times.
Dude, I saw a statistic. I saw some NFL statistic like that, like of the 30 teams, or is it 31 teams?
32.
32
of the 32 teams.
31 teams have had at least one.
I saw that.
Week over the last, like, what was it, 20 years or 10 years?
15 years.
I think it was like
15 years. And the one team that has not had even a winning, the winning
record.
A winning record for a week was the Giants.
That's right. That means they lost every opener.
But they still won 2
Super Bowls. I think I don't have to root for them because they don't play.
Hold on. They still won 2 Super Bowls. Who cares what the regular season was? Like Al Iverson said,
you sound like Brooks and her 17.
Practice.
You sound like Brooks and her 17 chips for the Lakers.
Well, you know what? I have to agree with Brooks on that.
That was all. Of course you have to because you're on the same side of the field right now. But like, that's cool. And I hope that it can help you win this year's chip. But it most likely will not.
I am going to go on a limb and say the Lakers will win the championship this year.
Now, see, I wasn't really talking about the Lakers. That was a lightweight kind of way for you to interject the Lakers, but now that we're on basketball. Your geriatric all-star team is not getting a chip this year.
Injured reserve list is going to be huge.
It's like a house of cards there. One guy's ankle goes down, they're all going down. Like it's a wrap. Like you guys got a very delicate old school all-star team. And I really am interested to see how it's going to play out, actually.
I'm also interested, and I really do think that the Lakers are going to win the championship. I think we have a team. I think we can do it.
All right, let me put my mic hat on.
Anything can happen with LeBron.
All right, that was our sports segment here at the Heroes Peak podcast. Unfortunately, we have to do just a very quick cultural segment here, and that's because due to our shooting schedule, conversation schedule, we did miss. We did not do a podcast before the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks, and we just want to. It is the largest cultural event of the last several decades. We just have to. Right. We really have to acknowledge its existence and the 20th anniversary of the horrendous day. And we all remember where we were. You guys live in New York City. I mean, direct assault on your way of life. Nothing good has come with it, has come from it. It's just been nothing but. We just had the conversation about the 20-year war ending, pulling out of Afghanistan. So I don't know what to say except just acknowledging that it was there and that it still is a scar on all of us.
Yeah. I mean, real quick, there's a story that I shared with my son the other day because he had to write for his class here in North New Jersey, interview somebody who's 30 years or older who had an experience with the 9/11 attacks. And he was like, his story was chosen because I was the only parent or only adult that actually was directly connected to it. And before the podcast, we were talking about work off the line, but it was my first year working in 2001. And my company at the time did a lot of work at World Trade Center for Morgan Stanley and a lot of firms there. And I was a young pup, up and coming, working my extra hours on weekends and, having no clue how to game the system.
Those loyalty points. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was me. I didn't know any better. I was fresh off the Similac, all that stuff. So the night before, it was a younger engineer who was getting married. He had a bachelor party. It was Monday night. I'm like, Monday night bachelor party? We got to go to work Tuesday. And I had a meeting at 9:30 at Tower 2 for Morgan Stanley. So we stay out a little bit late. I have a couple of drinks. Head home. I lived in Brooklyn at the time. And I overslept. So I get on the train. I'm like, oh, man, I got to go back to the office, get the hard copy drawings, because this is, again, way before the time of digital. And as I was getting the office and ransacking through my desk, one of my we sat in a little bullpen situation. One of my coworkers was like, hey, did you hear what happened? And at that time, you guys forget, it was when Michael Jordan was thinking about coming back to the NBA or not. I'm thinking, oh, Michael Jordan announced he's coming out of retirement. He goes, no, dude, some plane flew into the World Trade Center. I'm like, that's odd. Which tower? Because I got to be at Tower 2. Like, it was Tower 1. I'm thinking like a Cessna plane, right? Those of us who, Civil Air Patrol. And just when I was about to walk upstairs, sign the receptionist where I was going, what time I'm coming back, dude, another plane flew into Tower 2. And I was like, whoa, what? I stopped. And I put my roll of drawings down. There was one TV in one of the senior partners' offices. Everybody started going there to see what's happening in the news. And I'm like, holy shit, one of my other coworkers who I was supposed to meet had already left because I overslept. I couldn't email him because we didn't have email capability back in 2001. So we sat there and we tried to page him, see if he can call back. And then things started escalating to what we know would happen. The towers were falling down. I had another engineer that was working for another project in that building. And he had what we call shop drawings, right? Shop drawings are like, and Brooks knows this, are like prints of a space as it gets constructed, mechanical systems, plumbing, sprinkler, like, the walls, the architectural features. And he looked at me and just grabbed the whole thing and put it in the garbage. He was like, guess we don't need that anymore. And I'm like 22, 23. I'm sitting there like, there's people dying right now. And this guy is just like, so casually, he was a much older guy. He just dumped it all in the garbage. And I'm trying to find out whether my coworker was stuck in there or not. Luckily, he wasn't. He actually left the meeting after the first plane hit because they were told to evacuate. Unlike all the companies that were there, Morgan Stanley was like everybody out except for like certain fire watch to check the bathrooms and everything. So as the day went along, I'm like, I'm so glad that I overslept that night because God forbid that I was in that environment. I would have been like, it's probably just a plane. Why? I don't want to walk all the way down the stairs and all that stuff. And no one would ever know, better for that. So I always remember that Monday night. We text each other. Thanks for that bachelor party, man. 20 years later, he's happily married with kids and everything. It always rings true to me how close I was from actually being in the tower on the day of those attacks.
You know, that is so crazy. And I feel like I have heard so many stories like that. Like, I don't know what it was, but I have heard so many stories where people overslept, missed a train, something.
Yo.
Like, there's a person, another like graduate from Syracuse that was saying the same thing. He's like, I literally never was late ever to a day of work. And he worked in Tower 2 and he was late and he said he was
a
like
Monday night
driving.
bachelor party. First
Right.
of all, that's odd by itself.
I had like there was a couple friends that I had from Howard who were working in towers. Actually, both of them worked in separate companies, financial firms in Tower 1. Dude, like when I say these cats are super meticulous, like 15 minutes early, or if you're not 15 minutes early, then you're 15 minutes late kind of cats, like those kind of dudes, both of them late that day.
It's so crazy. I mean,
Dude.
and there's another statistic that it was like the least occupied day of the year.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah.
Like of the whole year, that it was the least occupied.
Yeah.
So I guess like everybody who bid it was supposed to bite it. Like
That's tough.
that sucks. I think that's one of the most jarring impressions, and I think I'll remember these images. Like even though I saw it on TV, but like yo, like when you saw those little specks falling from the building, and you realize they were people jumping, like jumping rather than being crushed, like
Scary.
that.
So my coworker who was there already, who left the building, he was still outside because he thought at some point they'd be brought back in. He actually witnessed all that.
That's what, yo. I thank God that I wasn't able to witness it up close, because I think like that would be trauma I might not even be able to get over. But like just even seeing it on the TV, like even talking about it now in my mind, like I see it so vividly, like just these little spots that once they zoomed in more and I looked more, like, oh, those are people making the choice to jump off the building or be crushed. Like I couldn't even imagine having to make those kinds of choices. Like
Well, at this point, we hope that all of the victims' families, anybody who was there, anybody who was near, find some sort of peace. And as a country, don't attack people who had nothing to do with this. They don't live here. They're not around here. Don't hurt other people just because you think they have some weird, something that you don't understand and don't believe in. I don't know what to say. I just want to say, just, let's try to treat people better around these tragedies, because it's a tragedy for all of us at the same time.
Just to put a little bit of levity on this, little lightness. So I know Brooks and Keith, you guys know Hamed. So when I finally made it back to Brooklyn, because I was crossing the bridge with everyone, and the train was working by Court Street, Brooklyn, to my apartment when I lived with Hamed, who was my roommate. I should have said his name, doesn't matter. So he was visibly shaken by it, and he grabbed a shovel. He's like, "I'm gonna go help search for rescues." And I'm like, and I'm watching the news and TV. I'm like, "All right, dude, do what you want to come help." I'm like, "Nah, I don't think they want us down there." So he comes back a couple hours later. He goes, "Yeah, they told me, take your shovel and go. We got it here." And I felt bad because in his heart, Hamed had a huge heart. He didn't know how to react. He wanted to go, be a superhero trying to save. And he grabbed a little shovel from Mystery Man. I was thinking of the movie Mystery Man when he was like, "I gotta go save the day." And then, FDNY said, "Yeah, go back home, Mr. Identity."
And something else too, like that day started out, it was such a beautiful day.
Dude, I was hungover.
Like it was like a perfect weather, no clouds in the sky. Like it was really like the beginnings of like a beautiful day. And then straight out of the blue, bam. And like everybody else, like I'm in Howard. So like we're witnessing the stuff going on in New York on TVs in the School of Business. Like the first plane hit, and it's a big deal, but like cats are like, they didn't realize it was a airliner. Everybody thought the same thing, like, oh, somebody flew their Cessna or their little prop plane into like too low and flew into the joint. And then the second plane hit, and like it was like the world stopped.
Yeah.
Like we were in classes, like Katz was coming into the class, like, yeah, like I think something's going on. I think we're being attacked.
You were by the Pentagon, actually.
So this is what I'm going. This is what's going on now. Like, so like after that second one, it's like people are kind of like panicked because now we're in school. The towers hadn't fallen yet, but like the hits happened. Like people are like there's tons of kids from New York. So now like everybody's in the hustle to call their parents, like this, that, and the other. And then the plane hits the Pentagon. When I tell you, pandemonium is going on the campus. Like nobody knows what to do. Like it definitely, we felt like it was about to be Pearl Harbor in DC. Like that was the tensest openly public day or I should say the day that I've seen the most people all have the same particular tension and anxiety. And I don't think I've ever witnessed that ever. Like, yeah, ever.
Two little kids. I was at work. There was no television. We were trying to get news on the internet, but internet in 2001 was crap. So you're getting like news bits, and I'm running around the office going, "What's going on?" They're like, "I don't know, just something happened. Just go to work." Like they expected us to keep working, and I'm like, "No, dude, have you not seen something?"
That goes back to Brooks's point earlier about work.
Exactly.
My wife is calling me. She's at home with my two sons, two infants, and my wife was home watching them and watching the whole thing on TV and calling me like, "Shit, are you watching this?" I'm like, "No, I can't." So yeah, so we just wanted to acknowledge it, put some stories out there, and
never forget.
Never forget. There's no thing we can say to get out of this segment. So we're going to go on a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about action movies.
God bless all the survivors and the families of those who didn't.
That's correct. All right. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to our part B of this episode, and what we're going to talk about is part B, part C, whatever. I don't know. Mike has letters or numbers or something on there. We're going to be talking about woman-led action movies. We're going to start by a little review of Kate, the new 2021 action movie on Netflix, and we're going to just have a long conversation about that general topic. So Kate is a 2021 action movie on Netflix, like I said, starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead. You'll know her from Huntress, and Harley Quinn movie.
As a young kid would say, she's fired.
She stars as an assassin who's been poisoned, and in her last 24 hours, she has to find out who done it, and goes around and kills a lot of people. Kills a lot of people to find out who done it. Co-starring Woody Harrelson. That was a surprise for me. I hadn't looked that up. And Miku Meritanu as her young protege, kidnapped, whatever.
Oh, the daughter, the young actress.
That's right.
She was good. Yeah, I didn't know her name.
And directed by Cedric Nicholas Troyan. You might know him from Snow White and the Huntsman, of course. Both of them, by the way.
Guys get jobs in Hollywood. I don't understand how these guys get jobs in Hollywood, man.
And written by Umair Alim. You'll know him, James, from Extraction.
Oh, my favorite. Oh, all right.
Yeah. See, there you go. All right.
So, now I know why I like this movie.
Yeah, me and James are just gonna do a quick thing, and we're gonna, response what we thought of this movie, and then we're gonna go into our main topic. So, James, tell me what you thought of Kate.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
All right, so real quick, I have some likes and dislikes about this movie before I give you my grade. Likes. This to me, and I mentioned it on our chat, is like what I would have loved John Wick 3 to be like. John Wick is getting old in the tooth after the first two movies, and he would have like a protege, whether it be somebody related to him or somebody close to him that he could have mentored, because she brought the action to her role that I thought I haven't seen in any other action movie led by a female, including Charlize Theron's Old Guard. Sorry, Keith. Because like John Wick, the fight scenes are well choreographed, but he gets his ass kicked sometimes too. And then Kate, the titular character, she got her ass kicked a lot by dudes, by you name it, and she still was able to come out on top. So the fight scenes are very realistic. There was one scene where her gun actually jammed, and she had to go through the whole machinations of reloading, be able to get the shot off. The next thing I like about this is, I don't know if it's camera work or the way the director shot certain scenes, but there's like a scene with the car running down in Osaka, not Tokyo, Osaka, Japan. There's many different levels of fights where the camera gives you a half angle of the fight and it comes around full circle. I don't know if that's the director or the way it was actually written in like the screenplay, but to me, I really love seeing it the way that they portrayed it. The other thing I really like about this is the fact that the character on your traditional revenge mission, right? I gotta go. But ultimately, although she gets her revenge, she still dies in this movie. Spoiler alert. So it's like, okay, you brought me to the point where I'm invested in this character, and now she's dead. So there was heavy stakes in this movie, even after she got her revenge, that she died. And to me, I love that. Like, I don't want to see a movie where the guy beats 100 assassins and it walks away without any scratch. Like, if she's gonna go through all that just to get her revenge, she got shot by a bullet, she got stabbed, she got punched a couple times,
poisoned,
plutonium 380, whatever it was, and then eventually, plutonium, and then eventually she dies. Case closed. I love that. That's a perfect movie. What I didn't like is everything that Woody Harrelson did in this movie. Woody Harrelson was, oh my God. You see his character in War of the Planet of the Apes?
No, I haven't seen those movies.
All right. So in the third Planet of the Apes movie, Woody Harrelson plays like this evil human colonel who's out to destroy the apes and all that stuff. And he really hams it up, like really campy villain, mustache twirling, all that stuff. His role was lighthearted compared to him in this movie. Like, he was really like annoying to listen to watch on screen. Like, everything, they could have casted like somebody totally different to play his role, and that movie would have jumped to an A+ for me.
Well, we'll get to that when we talk about the next thing.
And then I have to say, although I said I like this, I also dislike the fact that the main character died, because there's no point for a sequel unless they're gonna kind of work its way around the girl who survives that she was originally helping. But yeah, I really love this movie. To me, this is my favorite female-led action hero movie all year.
Wow, that's saying a lot. All right, I guess my review quickly is I was kind of on the same track as you, James. I was actually pleased to see when I first saw Woody Harrelson. I thought he would be a little more fun, but he actually ended up being kind of a little flat to me. Like, he wasn't big enough, or I don't know. He just wasn't much at the end. Like, in the beginning, it was like, oh, it's Woody Harrelson.
Just say it. He was annoying. Just say
it. I really liked how this started. I liked Mary Elizabeth Winstead a lot in this movie. I think she brought a lot of good stuff to the role. And like you said, the visuals, and this is just, if this is just what Japan looks like and well shot, then cool. Let's have more of it, because it looked awesome.
Yeah, it did.
And specifically, like you said, that car chase had very interesting camera movements. It sometimes followed the car, sometimes it didn't. Like, it went opposite of the car. It let the car move around. The camera moved. It panned in and out of the car. It was a lot of great shot. and I wanted more of that because there was a lot of energy in that scene. And I'm gonna say I think the movie lost a lot of energy by the end. Like I was expecting a little more.
I could agree. Yeah, I could see that. It did. Once it got to the final act, yeah, I could see that.
I was thinking a little more Crank. You can remember Crank, that terrible but fun Jason Statham movie. You're on mute, Keith.
I've seen Crank.
That's a cinematic adventure. What are you talking about? Crank was awesome.
And so her character, because
this movie was similar to Crank, Keith.
Yeah, because she's dying, she breaks into a hospital and she steals a bunch of drugs that are supposed to keep her going. And I'm like, oh, every time she's gonna get hit, she's gonna go crazy psycho and she's gonna kick ass. But that's not what happened. She'd basically almost die. Then she'd get, take some drugs, and then she'd limp slowly to her next place. Like I wanted more energy. The fights were.
It felt more realistic, though. Her character felt like I can imagine the real world where you're not Captain America. You don't have super soldier serum in you.
Yeah, but in real life, she probably have died.
She would have died within like 6 hours, probably. And once you start spitting up blood, I don't know what you're going to be doing on most of it. But it wasn't that. Like you said, the fights were extremely well designed, very well choreographed, very well shot, and she actually played them really well. But they could have been a little sharper. Maybe it's a budget thing. You only have X number of days to do your training versus a very high budget, Marvel or DC movie where you have $200 million and 6 months to do your training. Now you've only got 2 months to do training or whatever. I thought it was really well done for the budget level. You know what I mean? Because I thought it could be a little sharper, a little faster, but maybe that's just the design. Because I thought overall the third act was really slowed down when I would have liked it to speed up and get to the point where when she confronts her killer, it's like, I've got to do this before I die and I've got to be quick. But instead it was a drag that
long conversation. Yeah, that part was a little downer for me too.
But
talkie. Yeah. That part I get.
But the design of everything, Mary-Kate Winstead, like I said, Miku, the who played the young girl, I thought all of that was great. So I would like to see more of this with a bigger budget and just put it in fast forward.
I want to see this actress in other roles, man. I don't want her in Birds of Prey.
Huntress, you're probably going to see her in the Journey Smollett.
I don't trust DC. Let's be honest. I don't trust anything from DC. They're telling me there's supposed to be a movie release, Huntress. I don't trust it.
So, quick, what's your grade here, James?
Give it a B+.
Okay, I'm going B-. I love the look of this thing, and I give it a lot. And I love Mary-Kate Winstead. I just wish it was a little faster. So B- for me. Not bad grade. It's an action movie. It's free on Netflix. Like, how am I going to complain about that?
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. This is where our conversation is going to go. There's several, if not a bunch, of woman-led action movies this year, both on the IP side. So big major IPs like Black Widow, Wonder Woman came out in December. Birds of Prey came out this year. And of course, a lot of secondary characters in other movies like Shang-Chi. But also, we've got this string of non-IP based stuff. So we got This Kate. We got Gunpowder Milkshake earlier this year. We got The Protege, which we haven't discussed, which I thought was probably my favorite of the group. And then recently we've had Old Guard, Charlie's Angels, Ava, Hannah, Lucy. Pick a first name. It's probably a woman assassin.
You got Jolt in there too?
Jolt. I knew there was one I was missing. Jolt.
Yeah, Jolt.
And
that was my second favorite.
They're getting budgets. They're getting good action directors, right? And what do you guys think of this trend? Have you enjoyed these movies? Have you watched a couple of these movies this year? We can talk about some classics eventually. What do you think of what you've seen so far this year? So again, Jolt, Gunpowder Milkshake, Old Guard, the Protege, this Black Widow, the whole shebang. Anybody have an opinion?
I like the direction, and although I don't think like the female the action lead is a brand new thing.
It's not brand new, but we've gotten a lot more in a short time, is what I'm saying. It's
the quality of the actual movies and specifically the fight scenes and the action scenes, to me, I think are the best that I've seen of in this era is the best that I've seen of any female-led action movies at all.
Yeah.
I'm a very big personal fan of Old Guard. And to me, Charlize Theron, I would love to see her explore some more female actions kind of leads. It looks like she really wants to be a badass.
Well, I was surprised when
Atomic Blonde too, right? How old was Atomic Blonde? That wasn't that far.
It's only like 2 years. Plus Mad Max. She was.
Oh, and she was.
Mad Max.
Mad Max. What is it? Thunder
and
Road.
Let's not forget Fast and Furious.
No, let's forget that. Continue.
Wait, Charlize Theron was in Fast and Furious?
Yeah, she played the villain stuck in the freaking box.
Oh,
yeah,
I'll go ahead and
she sat in a
I'll
chair.
forgive her for that.
They
she sat in a green screen podcast room and did her whole role.
Sorry,
Gunpowder,
she was in that.
Milkshake was really. I enjoyed that as well.
Okay. One thing, just I want to note about this discussion: we are aiming specifically at American cinema because we do not have the time nor the expertise to discuss the long history of cinema around the world of the different types of women action-led movies and stuff like that. So we're just a note before someone comes at me and starts talking about back in the 80s, they already had. I was like, no.
We got to give Kill Bill credit, man. Kill Bill, Uma Thurman, and that whole Viper crew.
I would say that's definitely still worthy to be part of this conversation, though. Time-wise.
So one thing I've noticed, and it's not just the women-led action movies, but it's definitely, you're starting to see it there very highly, is the types of fighting and the amount of choreography in the fighting has ramped up exponentially in the last decade, I'd say.
That's the part that I feel like.
It used to be a lot of big punch, shoot somebody, get knocked down, kick somebody, whatever. Now these are full action, martial art choreographed battles with different weapons and different gunplay. Even the gunplay, we talk about John Wick, and we see that here.
And with the women actually getting touched themselves as well.
Dude, you gotta watch Kate. That one fight scene in the kitchen against the Yakuza guy.
He was so good.
It's like domestic abuse beat. She still wins at the end, but it's terrible to watch.
G.I. Jane was abusive.
Oh, that's
a good point.
G.I. Jane was she got her ass beat. G.I. Jane, Demi Moore, but she, so it. Yeah, I feel like it's very, even if there's a woman lead in the action lead, very rarely do you see them really getting touched up.
In the Protege this year, there was actually a full torture scene. She got captured and full on waterboarded and beat the hell up. So it's not clean, okay, they get punched once and then that's it. They're getting the full
fighting. Fighting.
It's great.
It's we get, as a consumer, we have a whole nother gender now to explore for the same things that it is that we like to see. It's cool that a man could give me the same action scenes, but okay, let me see. I'd love to the normalization of either sex can give you a great action performance.
And one thing I've noticed though about these movies is there tends to be a very specific childhood trauma element in a lot of them compared to. So if you go back to the Stallones and that era, it's a ex-military, ex-cop, ex-assassin, ex-this, and then someone shoots his dog or captures his kid, and then he's pulled back into action.
All the way up to John Wick.
No, not all of that. I mean,
all the way up to John Wick.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan. All the way up his whole village got massacred.
Okay, so there's
his
one.
mom get his head off.
There's one. What other Schwarzenegger movie?
Oh, this is where I need. That's where I need Mike. They're out there. There's roles where
I'm not saying there's none. I'm saying there's a common theme. Every single one of these has childhood trauma as a specific element in the story. Kate.
Well, not Old Guard. Not Old Guard.
You're right. Old Guard would be different because that's a,
Do they remember their childhood?
Inhuman, after you die kind of thing. But the protege.
But I see your point. It's not like a female who's like an ex-assassin, ex-this, who's got to come back.
She doesn't come from a background of.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
The badassery because of her like trauma.
Right, and then then Samuel L. Jackson or Woody Harrelson picks her up as a kid and teaches her all her ways.
Well, Halle Berry in the John Wick 3 movie, which I know we don't want to talk about, but she was retired and John Wick got her to come back into the game.
Right. Yeah, but that's also what John Wick's story was. He was retired and now he's got to come back in the game, right? It was more of a copycat of John Wick stories than.
Kill Bill was more of trauma while she was actually an assassin. So it wasn't even like pre-trauma. It was on-the-job trauma.
Right. Yeah. So, Brooksy, I know you're not...
You're the only female in this pod, so...
Right. But you don't spend as much...
I'm the queen of the pod.
You don't spend as much time...
We're mansplaining.
Drooling over action movies as we do. But is there a set of action films... outside of Fast Furious, because those are not woman-led action movies.
And outside of Zack Snyder.
Women-led
action movies that really have spoken to you or you enjoyed.
I'm definitely gonna go with Kill Bill, for sure. I think those are just the first women-led action films that I can really remember. I mean, I'm sure there were more prior, but
Red Sonja. Holy shit! Red Sonja was also
Sonja definitely Red.
She was a teenager. That was terrible backstory.
Terrible fighty scenes. Terrible. Yeah. But I'm gonna say one that actually I really kind of dig, and it was around the same Kill Bill time. But the first Charlie's Angel movie.
That was great, and
I love that movie.
Was that Michelle Yeoh? Was that Michelle Yeoh in there kicking ass?
Kicking his ass. Definitely kicking major ass.
That was Lucy Liu.
I'm sorry.
Guys, you just offended the Asian community.
No, because I was
not me, guys.
Some of one of my best friends is
Tiger, Hidden Dragon before.
And he's in Jamaica laughing at you right now.
He is in Jamaica laughing at you. Number one. Number two, that's like a white person being like, I'm not racist. I've had three black people.
That's the whole truth.
I know.
Hey,
okay.
Sigourney Weaver in Aliens. She had no childhood drama.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great pick. That was a great pick. So I'm going to go through a couple. Here's some movies.
That's a classic good one.
So you're in that era. So we have Aliens. The action there is basically people getting killed until someone has a single weapon and shoots things. Like there's no fight scenes, but it's bad. It's great badass work. Then we have like Terminator 2. Terminator 2 did a great job because she was in the first movie, she was the victim. She was just the running scared character, and they did a great job in the second movie of giving her that role.
But you
she did so great. The director married her.
Mm-hmm.
You consider her an action lead in that movie, though?
She was a co-lead. She's a
co-lead in that movie. But it's like people are putting in list V for Vendetta. I don't think V for Vendetta. She is not a co-lead in that movie. She is definitely a secondary character. She's
definitely a supporting actor. Definitely not the...
How about this one? La Femme Nikita. This is one of my favorites. I love that movie.
Yeah,
I wasn't a fan of that.
That's also
never a fan.
that's also one that is childhood trauma induced.
Yeah, that was a precursor to Black Widow.
All right, so
yeah, that was definitely.
let's see here. Charlie's Angels. We talked about. Kill Bill's on here, of course. You guys remember Haywire? This is one of the first. I think one of the first.
Wait, is that the one with Gina Carrero?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Because she could
Before
fight.
she became MAGA. Yeah.
But because she could fight, it was one where they let her actually have choreographed action scenes as opposed to just.
That was with the actor Obi-Wan from the prequels.
Right. No, it was with Magneto.
Oh, Magneto. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. My fault.
But it was more than just, hey, put this guy between your thighs and squeeze, right?
It was a B-rated movie that I saw late night where the action was pretty legit because she did her stunts. She was easy on the eyes, but it wasn't
the storyline and movie.
Yeah, it's trash.
I know what you're talking about. Like it's like most of Jahai's White or what's that guy?
Jay White. Jay. I think it's Jay.
Yeah, Michael Jai White.
The BS black action star.
Yes, like that.
Like his movies are just like that all the time.
I'm gonna pull some early 70s action for you. So we got Foxy Brown, Cleopatra Jones, and Coffee.
I'm appreciative you mentioning those.
Good job, Chris.
Those. I was watching a really short on Netflix a history of kung fu action movies. And they brought up Cleopatra Jones specifically.
Cleopatra Jones.
Because she was part of that wave of blaxploitation plus kung fu action.
Little Planets.
And now I want to go watch one of the movies. I've never seen it.
Exactly what I was pulling.
It was really cool.
You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't watched a lot of 70s. I wasn't a huge old movie buff or anything like that. So I haven't watched a lot of the 70s movies like that. So
super interesting when you watch them now. Like the movies in the 70s are very interesting watching them through these current lenses right now.
You can smell the heroin too as you watch it.
How about this? One of my favorites. Another one of my favorites. Underworld. Do you guys remember Underworld?
Oh, Kate Beckinsale.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah. Yes, that's definitely.
That was childhood drama, the first movie, because she had the secret of her family. She was a little girl, and the vampire kidnapped her. And
it's childhood trauma. All of the movies. That's the background. That's her background.
Right, exactly.
Literally her background.
Okay. Tomb Raider.
Okay, good
There's
one.
been 2 Tomb Raiders movies, and I'm also going to bring up Salt because
not too much fisticuffs.
No, not much, but some decent adventure, more action adventure than it is fighting.
Salt was good.
Salt,
I like
though.
What?
Salt.
Angelina Jolie. Salt. That was a good one.
I did not see that.
How can we not talk about female-led action and not talk about Resident Evil?
Because
leg of 8 movies, B action movies.
That was a horror version of the freaking Fast and Furious, man.
Yes, that's a good adequate. I enjoy it enough, but it's
All right, and then Ghost in the Shell and Lucy. Speaking of Black Widow,
Scarlett Johansson. She did not do good. Yeah, that was not good. Both of those movies kind of stunk.
And probably the best of the modern, but tell me if this is led, is Edge of Tomorrow. Is that
that's a co-lead? Yeah, it's a co-lead. Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. Yeah, Emily Blunt.
I got one for you.
Bring it on.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Oh, that was a great co-lead. That's another Angelina Jolie, right?
Love the action scene in that.
That's co-lead. Yeah.
Love the action scene.
That was good. That was a good one.
Love the action scenes in that.
Okay, so these are all what I consider non-IP. Yes, some of them have brands behind them, but they're not the major budget IPs like
and Domino,
Marvels and
Domino.
And that was
I don't remember Domino.
That was early 2000s.
Badass, they were bounty hunters, bugging out. They got it on.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. I'm gonna have to
look it up. Domino? That's not early 90s.
Early 2000s.
Is it early? No, not even early. That was like mid 2000s. Like that's.
I graduated. I remember that.
It's not early. Like it was a true story, and like they were
2005.
And she's a badass.
So I think I want to continue this. I think I want them to continue.
Holy shit, Mickey Rourke was in them? Yeah. Cody.
To give them what I'm seeing now, which is the budgets behind them and the choreography behind them that they're finally getting in some of these movies.
Chris, I think this generation of female-led action, they have a lot more opportunity. They mean people behind these type of movies because you have bigger budget, you have the appetite for it right now. You have where females are now involved in the directing, production, screenwriting. Before it was just a bunch of white dudes sitting in the basement eating Cheetos, coming up with these stories. Now you have people of color or women of color putting some of these stories together. So I think the future is bright for a lot of these movies. Like for every cake that I watch, I might get like I don't want to shit in these other movies right now.
Ava.
Yeah, I might get that.
Hannah, right?
You might get a Mulan.
Ooh.
Right. Well, I mean, actually, that's actually a good point, though, Gene or Keith, is that the bigger IP budgets are actually also getting women-led movies. So you're getting them in Star Wars.
Keith's point, it seems like the smaller the budget is, the better the movie.
Yeah, like they got
Black Widow and Mulan.
Hey,
less money, you guys concentrate more on the movie of itself. Like
I think Black Widow wasn't as bad. I think the bad guy was
Black Widow was great.
Yeah, right. I don't know why it's getting it. Why y'all kicking Black Widow's?
I'm not.
Like,
I think I like it.
It was mediocre.
I think they missed on some important issues, but otherwise,
I feel like they put too much. Like that could have been either a 2-part movie or like I feel like they put too many tidbits in that they glossed over.
Right.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like it just was more movie there.
Like, I feel like the Taylor character of Black Widow itself was outdone by everyone else in the movie.
Yeah, I still don't know who she is. Like I still don't have a feeling about like.
And she's still dead, so we're never gonna know. Spoiler alert.
Hey, what if?
Get more prequels.
Black Widow is dead.
You were in the theater with us when we watched Endgame. Weren't you? Yeah.
You were sitting
She fell
in the movie theater with us when we watched her die.
There's like a 10-minute scene of them fighting for her to die, and then a full minute of staring at her dead.
And then they go back, fix everything except the fact that she died.
You know what's funny is they're all memorializing the dude Tony Stark. He has a whole Viking funeral. Meanwhile, there's barely a tombstone for her.
There's barely even a tombstone for her.
Yeah, and
by the way, the robot died. He gets some press for Black Widow.
Now we see Steve Rogers, who didn't even die, has a whole musical to him. But Black Widow, she ain't got nothing.
She passed with no pomp and circumstance.
The one that she's trying to sue. The one she's trying to sue Disney. Now I know why she's trying to sue.
Literally sacrifice herself to live.
I have my memory. I have some real issues.
The same
That's why
guy's life.
Okay, so I just Googled, and there are 2 other movies that we may have said, but my memory is really bad. But I think they're worth mentioning. One is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
I wasn't sure if that was made in.
That wasn't made in America. That was
but yes, that is an amazing movie and definitely one of the best fight scenes.
Well, what's the other one, Brooks?
The other one is.
But was she a lead?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one is. Wait, keep talking. Stall. 1 second.
Yeah,
Hunger Games.
She was in a poster.
The Hunger Games.
Hunger Games.
Oh.
Okay. Everybody else is gonna. It's one of my favorite stories, Brooks. I read all of those books. I love those books, and I went to the theater for every single one of those movies. I love that I love
Do
that.
you think she's an action star or just more like an adventure movie star?
Well, it was action. It was
No,
action.
it was action. She gets
It
her
was
ass
bows,
kicked.
arrows.
She gets chased, fired at.
She gets chased. Have you seen all of the movies? Like,
No, I have not.
She gets it in. It's some rough and tumbly stuff.
There is some rough and tumble, and it's a good, to me. I love it.
By the technical nature of what we're talking about, it
was at the time it was the biggest movies those years, so it was huge. It's kind of like
that's me saying, what's her name? From
Daisy Ridley in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yes. So those are action adventure, but she does sword fighting and flipping, and that's part of the huge IPs led by women now. And like the question is the next Eternals movie, is that, we don't know quite who's the lead. There's a lot of co-leads going on in that one. And you talked about Hawkeye. He's training Kate Bishop, who's supposed to take over. We're supposed to get a She-Hulk.
Holy shit! I forgot about Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman's on my list. Yeah,
he said Wonder Woman.
Captain Marvel.
That. Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
That made the most amount of money, didn't it? Out of all the female-led.
No,
roles.
Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel. $1.1 billion.
And that's another actual action lead.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw that movie.
Don't ever bother.
It's a good movie.
It's trash.
Brooks, watch it. You would like it. Don't listen to Scrooge McDuck.
Oh, can we talk about like Catwoman and Elektra?
Yeah.
Oh, Catwoman. Yes. But
dude, that was a terrible movie. Don't go yes.
I'm saying it. I'm saying yes because I guess it fits. It fits the description
Early
of what we're
DC
talking
was
about.
horrid.
Yeah.
For the most part, except for like one thing here and one thing there. So there's a lot of mixed in.
Dude, they only got Batman and Superman right.
Mm-hmm. And only in like 1 or 2 movies. And then they put out a lot of other crap.
They got those right and just kept making those movies. Kept making Batman and Superman movies.
By the way, go back to Kate Beckinsale. She's done a lot, besides Underworld, she did Van Helsing. She's done a lot of like female action movies.
Did anybody watch Jolt? Am I the only one who
watched
Jolt?
I watched Jolt. I watched it.
It was interesting. It was a cool premise. That was more Crank. That was
closer to Crank than anything else you mentioned.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But I have to say, if your first kill in your action movie is a random waitress, I don't know if I'm rooting for you anymore at that.
like Chris is a killing snob.
Dude. Okay. Last thing.
I want to see death, but I got
last thing. Can we stop using the Yakuza? Every show, every movie I've watched, I swear, in the last 5 years, the Yakuza has been mentioned and talked about too much. Can we switch bad guys again? We were in the Russians for a while. We were in Middle East terrorists for a while. Can we go back to the KKK? Go back to the Nazis?
No,
the KKK
might happen in Hollywood.
The KKK will never appear.
Can we like?
They will never appear.
Bad Boys did it. Bad Boys went over there and shot some of them. Can we get more of that? Like we need a new bad guy.
You have to understand that the KKK actually like is in Hollywood. So
yeah, like it's kind of like.
That's why we want them shot.
That's why we want them shot.
They're not gonna write the script with them getting shot in it, so
they're not gonna pay for it.
They don't. Right. I still gotta make sure it's recording.
Yeah, let me finish off. And
that would be tragic.
Nobody log off quite yet. So thank everybody for.
Sorry.
Go for it.
I just have a question. Did everybody see Protégé?
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't talk about it. Protégé was great. It was my favorite of the.
Great.
It was my second favorite after Kate.
Asked for.
Grades.
Oh, grade? I'll give it a B. Solid B.
Oh, okay.
Solid.
I'm gonna give it a solid A. I'm gonna go A. I just want to say one thing. I was very surprised at one that Michael Keaton is still alive. And
it looks the same.
Movies.
Yeah, he looked
and like was great in the movie. Like I was very impressed with him and the chemistry between him and Maggie Q or whatever her name is.
Maggie Q. Maggie Q.
Yeah, and of course Samuel L. Gotta love him.
Wait a second. The hitman's wife. What you call
The hitman's wife's bodyguard.
Bodyguard. The hitman's wife's bodyguard.
Yeah.
I actually like
Salma Hayek. Salma Hayek was in there.
I like Salma
She
Hayek.
was a little too campy, but yeah, she was alright.
Okay, so the protege, as you guys said, starring Maggie Q and Samuel L. Jackson and Michael Keaton, are rescued as a child by a legendary assassin. Anna is the world's most skilled killer. Of course, she has got a horrible backstory, and her Samuel L. Jackson is killed, and she has to vow revenge. Da, 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 da.
Action in that movie, I didn't think was as good as Kate.
It was not as good action, but I think the movie itself was more consistent and better.
It's a real Hollywood story.
I would give it a B plus that way. Plus, if you put up Woody Harrelson versus Michael Keaton, I'm taking Michael Keaton was great. He's 70, and
I told you Woody Harrelson was the worst part of Kate.
Right, and so the two of them having that dinner between Maggie Q and Michael Keaton, that was hot.
That was hot.
I love that. It didn't.
So hold on.
It reminded me of. Hold on. It reminded me of the scene in a weird way. The scene in what is that movie? Shang-Chi, where the mom and dad meet and have that dance. It had that similar, like,
the enemies to
dancing,
lovers.
They're eating. Yeah, the enemies to lovers. It had that similar, like, they played off each other kind of in that same way, and
great chemistry.
Yeah. Very good chemistry.
I was gonna say, shit. What was I gonna say about Maggie Q and? Oh, so spoiler. At the end, do you think she killed them?
Yeah. Yes, but I also think he missed on purpose because there 2 gunshots go off.
Yeah.
So I think he misses on purpose because he's not going to miss for real, right? He's not going to miss like if he's trying. So I think he misses on purpose, and then she has to kill him because.
So she walks out of the building, and then the movie kind of ends. So it lets you wonder whether she killed him or. Yeah, that's what I was asking.
It's a movie.
Yeah, so I think he misses. She kills him.
It's like Keith. It's like in the Inception. At the end of that, the thing rolls. But what does that mean? Is it going to fall, not fall? They kind of leave you purposely thinking it can go one or the other way.
You know how my brain works?
Yeah.
In that particular moment, all I think is, this is a movie, and if I didn't see it, then it didn't happen.
Right. I think her first kill in The Protege was the best one, with the knife in the phone, where she kills the big guy.
Agreed. That was dope. Yeah.
That was really cool.
I really want, if you could spend some time this week and watch Kate and get your feedback, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Actually, I want you to watch Jolt too and tell me.
Yeah, to be fair, you're right. Because that's a good example of all 3 types of movies.
And I love Gunpowder Milkshake. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. I think that was.
We didn't talk about the other one with the guy who plays Harry Potter.
I thought it was going to be a little.
Gunna Kibo.
I thought it was going to be a little cornier. But
yes,
Gunpowder Milkshake.
No, there's another movie.
Gunpowder Milkshake.
No,
what Keith was talking about.
Almost made it a better movie because I thought it was going to be corny.
I agree.
My only problem, the reason I didn't give Gunpowder Milkshake a much higher grade was I thought the third act just let me down.
Yeah, it
looked okay, but when your main character walks out of the final thing, I was like, what just happened? Like,
nothing.
Don't do this to me.
That's what happened.
So yeah. So all right, everybody. Find us on social media, all of your favorite social media apps, IG, Twitter, Facebook, whatever.
TikTok.
Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want to hear about. Tell us what you want to talk about. And thanks for joining us for another week. And we'll see you soon.
Peace.
Bye.